Hello, welcome back. Search with Sean. This is another weekly news episode, and it's doing well so far. So we're going to keep on doing it, and hopefully you've enjoyed it so far. If you have, then do like it and share it. But yeah, heads up, there is a storm in the UK, so if there is any interruption, I'm going to put that out there first because just a heads up on that one. As usual, I'll go through kind of like the process of what we're going to do, because it's still early days, and then we'll get into like the good stuff, the stories and everything. But yeah, obviously, first of all, we do the intros to ourselves, and we go through top stories. As I always say, these are kind of more, not just like the top stories, in the industry going on right now. It might cover that, but generally it's just things we found interesting, and it could be, you'll see anyway, it'd be quite random, as I like to do on this channel. Top videos, things we've seen, we've watched in the last week or so that we found really interesting and we wanted to share. And that's anything across digital marketing, really. And top socials, social posts that really caught our eye. So could be from LinkedIn, X, Facebook. There's so many these days. I can't remember all of them. But, one of those ones. I'll start off the introductions. Hopefully you know me by now, but I am the host. I'm Sean. And also the SEO manager at Macmillan Cancer Support. So I'll pass over to Amanda.
Hi everyone. So my name's Amanda. I am the director of Cedarwood Digital, which is a performance marketing agency based in Manchester. We predominantly do SEO, PPC, and digital PR. Good job, I remember the last one there. I've been in the industry for around about 20 years, covering kind of all of those disciplines. It's sort of my day-to-day, and yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Sweet. And it's very cold in Manchester.
It's so cold. I had to explain to Sean before I got on this, actually. This is not a dressing gown. This is a hoodie, just to clarify to the audience. It's very cold here today.
Yeah, it's cold.
Isn't it always cold? Northwest.
It's absolutely freezing. To be honest, I live in Cheshire. I live in Manchester, and it's even colder in Cheshire than it is in Manchester. So, yeah, I basically live in this hoodie 24/7. It's just cold. Even though I've got this giant radiator behind me, it's still cold.
Nick, how about yourself?
My name is Nicola, and I'm the director of SEO and Discover at Reach. So I look after all search optimization, Discover optimization across 60 news websites, such as the Daily Mirror, Daily Express, Manchester Evening News, to name a few. I won't reel them all off.
Nice. So yeah, first one, and I'm going to always forget these graphics and stuff. But the first one is top stories. And like I say, they're not just literally the top stories in the industry, although it may be. But we'll start off with you, Amanda. What caught your eye this week?
Yeah, so actually this was something that I found quite exciting to have a look at. But basically, Google has a new report form for negative reviews. And I think this is so important because it's an issue that has been absolutely plaguing the industry. I know it's been plaguing various agencies. It's just been plaguing businesses as a whole. And basically, there's been a significant rise in kind of extortion scams. So that's people going on kind of Google business profiles, putting like a ton of 1 and 2 star sort of fake reviews, and then basically like asking for money. So they'll either send a message over like WhatsApp or email, and they'll be like, I've left all of these, 1 star or 2 star reviews, and the only way to remove is basically like, I'll remove them if you pay me for them. And this is a massive issue that the Google business profile has been having, and Google's actually put in the document itself, that there's been a sudden increase in these kind of 1 star, 2 star reviews. And then people are obviously demanding those money, goods or services in exchange for removing the negative reviews. And it's been spoken about so much in the industry in terms of how difficult it is to actually get those reviews removed when they're there. And it has been sort of nigh on impossible up until this point. But in good news, Google is has brought in, should I say, a new report form for the negative reviews. It launched about a month ago, and you can start to get rid of them, which is really exciting for businesses that obviously have been a victim of this, because previously, you've always had the opportunity to respond to them, but that doesn't mean anything if you've got someone leaving 50 of them and it's dragging your overall rating down. So yeah, I'm just really, really happy to see it, because I know some people that have been, quite heavily impacted by it, and especially for small businesses, who work really, really hard to collect those reviews. Having people like that thing, it's just heartbreaking, really. So yeah, it's something I think is really good to see.
I was going to say, how long's the process? Like once you submit that to Google?
I mean, that's a very good question, Nick, to be honest. I'm not sure what the answer to that is. But I think the fact that they've got the form up to start off with is probably like really helpful. I'm pretty sure that I read on it actually that the people who had initially done it had happened kind of within a few days.
That's good.
So on the original article was on Search Engine Land, and they said that one local SEO had tried it out within a few days. The review in question was removed because I think there was a little bit of doubt originally about sort of what the form was doing. Yeah. But yeah, from the testing, it looks like it's fairly speedy.
Yeah, I mean, it always really amazed me just how like Google didn't really pay much. It was like when I've been working in e-com in the past, it's been very, very difficult, if not impossible at times, to get those removed or even looked at. And it's amazing it's taken this long to get around to this sort of thing. And especially because it's so influential, you know, so prominent on the Google search results. You know, I know in recent years, Trustpilot have become more visible and that kind of thing, but Google is Google, and, you know, people could, and it was so easy to leave a review. At least Trustpilot have some sort of like process. You have to kind of prove something, but Google, you could be anything or anyone. And now with AI, if you wanted to set up an agent, you could easily train an agent to go and do this, you know, and really destroy your competitors on Google reviews. So yeah, it's needed. It may have to be even stepped up because I think, like I say, with AI, it's probably going to get even worse going forward.
I was going to say, it's interesting as well, that whenever I'm like Googling companies or brands, I always check out the reviews, especially of small local businesses first, because do your research before making a purchase decision. And I think it's good practice when small businesses, they reply to negative reviews. And the amount of times, like I see businesses replying to negative reviews and saying, we don't actually know who you are. I'd say that's what people just, when is it a genuine bad review? And when is it, you know, foul play? And I suppose Google really needs to kind of step up that security process, because it's leaving small businesses in particular quite vulnerable, I think.
I've also seen one thing that I find quite interesting with reviews, especially for small businesses, is, you know, sometimes they'll leave a review and they'll say 3 stars. I've placed my order, but I haven't received the item yet, so I can't leave, you know, a full review, and that's not very helpful because that's kind of bringing the score down. Or the delivery person threw the box over the fence, 1 star, and it's kind of like, but that's not, like, I appreciate delivery as part of the service, but it's not about the business itself. So I think the other interesting thing about this form will be what Google classifies as actually like a, you know, a genuine review, to your point, Nick. Like, how do we kind of justify that? Because again, I get so frustrated. I've got some friends that run a business, and I know how frustrated they also get when they get that kind of 3 stars, which is like, well, I can't leave 5 stars yet because I haven't received the item. And it's like, well, could you just wait until you receive the item and then, you know, potentially leave the review after that? But it doesn't seem to work that way.
Where is the form if businesses want to appeal?
There's a link. So there's a link to it on Search Engine Land. But I think you have to be logged into your Google account, and it's just like a link under support.google.com. And perhaps, Sean, you can put it in.
Yeah, all the links, as usual, will be in the description, so people can go and jump on that. And all the links from the previous episodes are also there, so very easy to like catch up with all the stories we've covered. So yeah, that'd be cool. And yeah, it's a difficult one. Negative reviews, I think that's the best way to approach it. You can't find them on your system. Make it very clear that that's the case, so people can see transparency. That's why it's important to reply to every single review, especially negative, obviously, and be quite thorough. And yeah, it was difficult. You know, when I worked at a phone company, and you had I don't know, you use any of the delivery services, and they lose the item, or they, like you say, damage the item, and that you're like, yeah, you have to be transparent, and sometimes you're gonna have to like pull, you know, out your own pocket. You're gonna have to like sort it out and kind of give them a new item or something to try and get that review like changed or whatever. You know, that's where like customer service becomes important, and that's why now customer support teams, can't just focus on this, like the calls coming in or the emails coming in. They had to actively go now, and if they weren't before, manage these reviews on Google and Trustpilot or wherever else you get reviews. I think it's obviously in this AI world, large language models and stuff, it's going to be extremely important. We might go around again because we have got less people today, so we have got more time to talk. But Nick, what was your kind of story?
So just more bugbears with Google Discover, basically. So I work for a publisher. So news websites, we get a lot of traffic from Google Discover. They say not to be too reliant on Google Discover, but it's difficult because on average now, most news websites, they get twice as much traffic from Google Discover as they do from search. So it's really important to us. And Google's very selective about the kind of content that gets in there. It's quite hard to get your content in there. But with that said, it's really frustrating at the minute that we are seeing so much spam content get into Google Discover. It's, as I mentioned earlier, it's hard to get in there. So the fact that we're seeing spam, and not just any old spam content, it's your money, your life content. So completely inaccurate information about pensions, about finance, driving license. Driving licenses is being published right now on Google Discover, and it's being sent out to millions of people. And not only is that a terrible user experience, it's quite dangerous if anyone's going to make, a financial decision based on this inaccurate conversation that they're reading through Google. But it's really frustrating for publishers as well. That's where, obviously, my perspective. But the update on that is Press Gazette has run another article because we're just seeing so much spam content still get into Google Discover. And Google have confirmed that they've acknowledged the problem and they are investigating. And they released a quote to Press Gazette saying, "We keep the vast majority of spam out of Discover through robust spam fighting systems and clear policies against new and emerging forms of low quality manipulative content. We're actively working on a fix that will better address the specific type of spam that's being referenced here, maintaining our high bar for quality in Discover." So hopefully a fix is going to come soon, but quite frustrating in the meantime for publishers and a bit risky for users of Google Discover. They're not just saying, it's like bad, this mascara is not good, or it's your money, your life content, incorrect misinformation about pensions, finance, stuff that Google shouldn't be getting wrong at this point.
I find that so interesting as well that there's so much of that your money, your life in Discover, because we do a lot of work in that sector. And what we find with things like AI and anything is that they're still kind of testing or rolling out, they tend to be a little bit more reluctant. So there's a number of sectors that we work in where they just don't run AI overlays. And I think the main reason for that is because they're nervous almost of, the AI, if it does get the content wrong in a YMYL sector, then that's a real risk. But it's interesting to see that there doesn't seem to be the same safeguards in place for Discover.
And it's wild. If you see these websites that are getting in, they are websites that have been active for about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
If you see, it's absolutely crazy. And then not only is it misinformation within the article, the ads are absolutely wild that are on these articles that are clearly violating not safe for work content policies. Like they're quite disgusting, some of the adverts that I've seen on these news websites. So yeah, glad that Google's acknowledging the problem, going to do something about it, but I hope sooner rather than later, because that's very risky.
I mean, I'm actually a big fan of the whole Discover sort of, setup. But like you say, I mean, it seems quite hard to get onto if you're like a normal publisher. But like when I'm going through my feed, some of the websites I see, because I follow mainly science and space and technology and stuff, and some of the websites I see are very I'm like, how the hell did you get that? Seems so random. Like I would expect to see space.com and BBC and NASA and that the stuff I follow, like sort of thing. I see some random websites, and like you say, you click on it and about 60% is adverts, and then there's a few paragraphs of writing and a picture maybe, and it's like I guess they've cracked the code into how you get onto Discover, and that's their main source of income and way of driving revenue to the, whatever they're doing.
You know what? I just had a flashback of one of the horrid adverts that I saw. One was like a secret for hair growth, and it was somebody washing their hair in Coca-Cola. I'm not joking. I took a screenshot. I was like, that's wild. What is this even advertising? Like Coke? A new use case for Coca-Cola? I don't know. It was just absolutely wild. Oh, that's getting in there. That was one of the nicer adverts. It did gross me out, but it was one of the nicer adverts on this site.
Yeah, I don't get it. Like when I see a lot of the adverts on some of these websites, they're so random. Like they try and be very like localized and personalized, but it's like the pictures are obviously AI and they're very random. And it like, I can't think of like a total, but it'd be like hearing or something. Are you like 50 to 70 in whatever area you are and you've got hearing problems? And it'd be, what is the point of that? I don't know. I just don't see the point. It's like, how are you driving revenue through that? But yeah, interesting.
Yeah, it's just frustrating as well for publishers, because I tell you what, if the Daily Mirror or the Express were publishing content like that, completely inaccurate content like that, we would be penalized quickly and heavily. So why is Google giving these sites these free parts? I suppose that they've obviously found some kind of weakness in the algorithm and they're abusing that, but come on, Google.
That's the thing. I think Google is so overwhelmed with everything going on right now. There are loopholes, small loopholes being created than being fixed, and people are taking advantage of it. Hopefully it's just a short-term issue. And I'll get into my first story, and it's a good news story, I guess, and it's a spoiler alert if anyone hasn't seen the final of the Triers, the celebrity version. So hopefully if you two watch it, I'm not going to ruin anything for you. But generally, off the back of Alan Carr winning the Traitors, he obviously gave it to a charity, like a neuroblastoma UK, like a small UK charity. And he won £87,500. So that went to the charity. But also, it increased their website traffic by 27,000%. It increased.
Wow.
Over like a few days, it just shot up by amount. So it just goes to show like what celebrity endorsement could potentially do, and those sort of partnerships, because again, it's quite random. Like they didn't ask for that or anything, but it just shows like someone like Alan Carr backs your, what you're trying to do, what kind of impact. Obviously, they get the money, but 27,000 news, or like increased by 27,000% is like ridiculous. So, that was awesome. I thought it was a good news story because it's, a lot of doom and gloom. Yeah, like in terms of organic traffic, yeah.
Wow.
It's such a lovely
direct. I don't know if it's a mix of direct and organic. I presume that would be the case here.
Because often that's the value, isn't it, really? I mean, just the awareness that that charity even exists for them, because for many people, they've probably not come across it before.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I say, it just goes to show, like, if you pick, obviously this wasn't like say pick, but if you do work with the right influencer, the right celebrity, it can have such a great effect on your brand and your, people being aware of who you are and what you do. So, and obviously it can work in the reverse. I know people pick some really bad people to represent them, and it's gone downhill just as quick. Amanda, we can go back to you. You got a second story, and then I'll just finish off. I've got one more.
Yeah, for sure. So the second story is about ChatGPT, and it basically is talking about the fact that ChatGPT ads are coming, which I think is something we're probably all aware of. But the most interesting thing really from this news story is how ChatGPT is really planning to differentiate its ads from Google ads. So basically, the CEO, Sam Altman, has said the model and the format of the ads hasn't yet been defined, although one of the things that they kind of really want to do with ChatGPT is to offer more of the like objective recommendations. So one of the things that they've suggested is like offering a recommendation to something, i.e. a hotel, and then rather than charging the hotel and like a pay-per-click model or cost-per-click model, like what Google Ads does at the minute, they would rather earn the commission if the user books or buys through the links without payment influencing the ranking. So that's obviously a different model to what Google runs, because Google runs that kind of pay-per-click, cost-per-click model. ChatGPT is thinking about, actually, I guess it's more of an affiliate model. So it's like a percentage of sale that they would take from the advertiser. So it is like a really different way of advertising. And they also, the other reason I think they want to do this is because at the minute they feel that like it means that people can't essentially pay to rank above others. It would be more based on the kind of trust side of things. So this would be a pretty significant shift in the way that advertising would work, because it would no longer be that kind of, pay to get to the top model. It would be more of a kind of pay or an affiliate model. And I just think it's really interesting that ChatGPT are considering that as a different way of advertising, especially with so many people using. I mean, I use ChatGPT admittedly like nearly every day now. I talk to it like it's basically like a friend in a way. And I just think, it's going to be interesting to see if they take that slightly different advertising model, and there's still a lot of people utilizing ChatGPT, what impact that's going to have on Google Ads market share, and also for people that are used to using that traditional Google advertising model, how they're going to translate that into ChatGPT ads if it's no longer that kind of pay-per-click or cost-per-click auction-based format. So it'll really be interesting to see.
So does that mean, from what the new rules that you were explaining, does that mean, for example, if you were McDonald's and somebody was searching Burger King, McDonald's now couldn't pay to be the top search result on ChatGPT for Burger King, for example?
Yeah, so essentially what ChatGPT is saying, and obviously this is all like up in the air at the minute because he's kind of said that the model and the format is not defined. But essentially, I think what they really want to do is, well, he's said basically they want ChatGPT's model to rely on trust rather than on paid placement. So I guess with Google, yeah, if you were Burger King, you wanted to appear above McDonald's and you paid enough, you would probably be able to get there. I think ChatGPT is obviously not wanting to go down that path. So kind of, I guess, fair play to them. But it's going to be interesting to see how that translates for advertisers, because I think for a lot of people that spend a lot of money on Google Ads, they're so used to using that auction-based model, and they're so used to also getting traffic and volume from that auction-based model that, it's probably a better playing field for smaller brands. Like, don't get me wrong, because, we run ads in a lot of competitive spaces, and often it is the companies with the big budgets that get the visibility because they've got the ability to outpay the market, even though Google's got things like quality score and such in place to ensure that there's, a degree of fairness across the ads. But I just think this could really shake things up, because it means that those brands will no longer be able to kind of pay for that visibility, and it's really going to push people to have to focus on that quality aspect.
Didn't Sam Altman originally say that he didn't like ads and that it wasn't going to have ads at all? Or have I made that up?
I had absolutely no idea, to be honest, on that.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he said quite a few, often he's not a fan of adverts, but I guess it's the way I see it, what they're trying to do is that they're trying to get more people using the platform. So if brands feel there's an opportunity there to get sales, and that ChatGPT are trying to, drive sales to businesses, they're going to spend more time actually trying to optimize for that platform more than they're doing now, rather than just focusing on Google. So I think they're trying to make themselves like a relevant platform for businesses to try and, optimize for and drive traffic towards, because they could get more sales through it. So I think it's a smart move in a way. Again, it'd be interesting to see how, if you're a business, like the kind of cost comparison, like how much you're spending on Google Ads to drive a conversion versus like how much of the cut they're going to take off a conversion, how it weighs up, because that'd be interesting. I guess obviously, like in your example, Nick, like if they say, oh, look, someone's looking for a burger joint in their neighborhood, then they're obviously going to go McDonald's obviously probably going to be number one because who they are. But then they're probably going to say, but also there's Five Guys and there's Burger King, and they could be good options because, you know, you've got 2-3 kids and they do this great kids menu, and because they're going to know people, they're going to be able to personalize the results based on all that. So, you know, you've got a car, they've got a good parking nearby and this sort of thing. So I think, but I'm sure we're going to later, Google already on the case and trying to combat against this sort of thing. But yeah, I think it could be a good thing. And it was only like we talked about it on last week, I think, where it's inevitable that OpenAI had to do adverts or some sort of money generation out of somewhere, because it's not feasible what they're doing right now. So yeah, but it could be an interesting model.
I think the interesting thing for advertising on ChatGPT, though, will be how you target it, because at the minute on Google Ads, it's easy to target it on keywords. You know, people searching for a specific service or a specific product or a specific, let's say you're buying a watch, maybe like Casio watch. It's easy to kind of target it through the interface. But with ChatGPT, it's way more conversational. Like, I think people are asking ChatGPT questions, long-winded questions with more long-winded explanations. And so I think for advertisers, the challenge is going to be, how do you hone in? Because, you know, a lot of people go to ChatGPT for a comparison. They might say, you know, like, who is the best digital marketing provider in London, let's say, for example, and then they get, you know, 5 to 10 answers. How is that going to then filter into an effective ad? That's probably a bad example, because I guess digital marketing agency in London would be the quote. But what I'm trying to say is that if you've got more of a conversational tone with a lot more keywords and a lot more variety in there, how do you hone in on that super kind of high intent audience, which I think is what Google Ads sells itself on? You know, can ChatGPT match that because of the slightly different user behavior? I think it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. I just had on Real Talk, we had Serge on, who's like the PPC doctor, he calls himself. And yeah, talking about obviously Google are like running out, you know, PMax AI and stuff, trying to be a bit more intelligent in how they understand users and their behaviors and stuff. So yeah, obviously, like, they're doing that kind of thing. The Google obviously have an advantage. They've got years of data, years of kind of getting their algorithms improved and understanding users. Like I say, a whole pool of data. OpenAI are just starting, and they're trying to kind of, you know, catch up. And Google are still like doing their thing as well. So they're kind of chasing their tail a bit. But if they offer something different, like Perplexity, and I'm not sure how this is going, but obviously they've done things around shopping and things like that. And I'm not sure what the uptake is of that. So people have tried different models, and it hasn't really, from what I understand, taken up. But again, I don't really know the ins and outs of that one. I'll get on to my last story, then we'll move on to videos and stuff. But this one, it's funny because obviously last week I talked about, or the week before, I think Brittany Miller was talking about Spotify removing loads of AI slop, as they call it, from Spotify, loads of like AI stuff. However, there's been an AI generated song that now has been topping the Billboard country chart. And yeah, and it's a song called Walk My Walk, it's called. And it's by a fictional group called Breaking Rust. And it's actually a really good song. I actually listened to it and it's pretty good. But basically, it's been listened to by millions of people. Like, I think their top song was listened to already by 4-5 million people. And it's that they actually got verified as an artist by Spotify, just thinking it was a real person. So yeah, and actually, and this got me thinking actually, because, you know, people say down, you know, AI content, but if it's good, it's good. Like, if it's a good song, does it matter? Because at the end of the day, look at all the rappers like T-Pain and Lil Wayne and stuff, how much auto thing they use and stuff, you know, which isn't really their voice. Although T-Pain can sing, sorry, Bon Marcy, but you know, but generally they use all sort of computer stuff to change what they're doing on their voice and stuff. Yeah, most of the girls in the girl bands could never sing. They just use auto tune and stuff like that. So, you know, this is the thing. And like with celebrities, like, you're never going to meet, you know, say Brad Pitt. you're never going to meet Brad Pitt. You've never met him. All you're taking that he's real is that he walks the red carpet and you see him in like Heat magazine or whatever now and again. And, you know, he does some interviews and he's on your films. Well, if you get that from an AI, how's that any different from Brad Pitt? Do you know what I mean? We're told he's real because
meet him. You've shattered my dreams there, Sean.
Well, you know, like these celebrities, like you're probably never going to meet, and you never have. We only know they're real because of these things that we see in the media and they're on films. But like I say, an AI, when they create like an AI model or actress, it's going to have potentially that same sort of, you know, coverage. It's going to be very tricky to know the difference. So like I say, this music artist, it's a good song. And the video they could make very realistic. You're not really gonna, unless you were very much like you were told. A lot of people are gonna fall that it's not AI. So I know it's just messing with reality basically, and I think it's gonna get like super weird going forward.
I hate that I'm gonna say this, but where my thought kind of went to there when you were saying all of that was something that Google has been saying a lot, and I hate that my brain is thinking that way, but. Yeah, AI can create good content. Just because it's made by AI, it doesn't mean that it's bad content automatically. Sometimes it is good, but people are still craving that human connection. I'm interested in listening to this song that you just spoke about. But like, for example, have you guys heard Lily Allen's new album? It is. Oh my God, it's so good, right? And it's so good. And the whole album is about her breakup from, I can't remember his name, the guy from Stranger Things. And it's just, the storytelling is just incredible, and AI couldn't do that because that is her story, that's her experience. And when I was listening to all of those songs, I was like picturing what she went through, and I was seeing her and I was seeing him, and it was just, I've been banging on about that album so much recently because it was so authentic, and AI can't produce that kind of music. I suppose AI can probably produce a bit of a bop, but not that kind of deep, like, wow, what an incredible album. Probably that dance party, something that I might play at my son's birthday parties, but it's something I'm going to listen to and be like, oh my God, wow.
I don't know, you'll be surprised. This song and the songs are pretty deep and it's like very soulful. It's a very good song. And I don't know, say Lily Allen, you know, and he said Lily Allen put that lyrics into ChatGPT or something, and or an AI who makes songs, an AI that makes songs, and created like an avatar that looked very realistic, and put that on Spotify. People probably still feel like, oh, this person's singing a really great song, and it's connected with me. That's what I mean. You could go around it, like,
but it's based, but like that. So, like when I write, for example, I might write something, but I might say to AI, "Oh, is there a way you can change the tone to slightly more this or slightly more that?" But if it's still based on her human experience, that's just something AI can't understand. Like that relationship, that marriage was wild. There's no way that it's just that's just content that AI can't, because AI can't live it. So AI can't share it.
Not yet. I just think like
points into the AI.
I just think that like there are already agencies popping up. Like I've put it on the news before that about the AI actress Tilly. I can't remember her name now, but Tilly Norwood, and like she was very popular, and everyone wants to put her in their films and everything. And I think if you start creating backstories and you actually put time and effort into it, like there's loads of Instagram influencers that are AI now. If you put the time and effort into it, I don't think it's going to be too different. I think that would be the future. I think people are going to spend more and more time putting that sort of effort into it, because it's actually much easier to work with than an actual human being. If you think about it, they're not going to say that they can't be bothered to show up for a photo shoot. They're not going to be like demanding pay rises. They're not going to have to sign contracts. You know, it's going to be very, and then obviously when they become like robotics become even more advanced, which we're only a couple of years away from, then it'll actually have a physical appearance and sort of, yeah, I think the next few years are going to be wild, like in many ways.
Well, in the fact that we're already talking about AI music and describing it as soulful, like these robots have soul, do they? Like that's wild in itself. But yeah, I need to give it a listen, I think. So I heard Joe Rogan, he's a really big fan. I listened to his podcast, and I know he's a really big fan of. I need to give it a try.
Yeah, he loves it. The 50 Cent remixes into like soulful country sort of stuff. Yeah, no, it is good, actually. It is good. I'm not going to lie. And then, music these days is not what it used to be. That's my old man in me, so I'm going to say that. Cool. Well, let's move on because time's ticking on. And so, top videos. So, you, Nick, what was your video?
My video is probably the best video that's ever been released for the SEO community. I would describe it like the John Lewis advert for SEOs. I'd say it's like Lily Ray's new video, and it's just like nothing we've seen in SEO before. So it's about the whole SEO versus GEO versus AEO debate, but she explores that debate with an animation that she's made, this incredible animation about a family of alligators, which is a nod, obviously, to that Verge article that went viral a few years ago that said everyone in SEO, what were we? Content goblins, alligator party goers.
Something like that, yeah.
Something destroying the internet, something like that. And so it's about this family of alligators. So you've got Mother SEO, she's the mummy alligator, and she has these children. And one is Brother, Core Web Vitals, one is Sister Amp, one is Brother Featured Snippets. It's so cute. Like how she's made it cute is just bizarre. And they've all kind of had their moment in the spotlight. And then they welcome a new baby brother. And the baby brother is called Baby GEO. And now is Baby GEO. He's now the new superstar. And he's such a superstar. He's born with golden skin. And he's going off into the crowds. And everyone's like, wow, he's amazing. But then over time, as that hype starts to die out, his gold coat starts to shed and it turns green. And he's like, what? I'm actually green like the rest of you? And it was basically a metaphor for the future of search, or AI search doesn't erase the foundations. What Lily's saying is that the best practice AEO or GEO is the same as SEO. And Mother SEO turns around to Baby GEO and she says, without SEO, you'd hallucinate yourself into a lawsuit, which is very true, right? And honestly, it's so good. You have to watch it. The design is just fantastic. And it just really breaks it down so like anyone can understand how AEO, GEO, how it all works. And Lily kind of wraps things up by giving her take. What is it called? She says she and her team, they call it AEO, so it's Answer Engine Optimization. And she really just simplifies this whole debate and misunderstanding about how large language models work. What she says is basically the reason why best SEO practice is the same as best practice for AEO or GEO is because large language models are powered by a system called Retrieval Augmented Generation, which is what we call RAG, which basically means that ChatGPT, all of the large language models out there, they use search engines like Google and Bing for accuracy before they generate these responses. And what she says is, when we're saying, how do we get visibility in large language models? Well, because of RAG, if you want to appear in large language models, you need to appear in search first. So going back to the point where SEO best practice is AEO or GEO best practice, the same still apply. But what has changed, she was saying, is that the metrics that SEOs use for AEO need to change. So instead of looking at rankings and clicks, we need to start prioritize other metrics. For example, branded impressions, share of voice, search visibility by different large language models, organic clicks to the homepage. She gives a whole list of them in this presentation. And honestly, everyone just needs to go and check out that video because she really simplifies how large language models work. She simplifies the debate, and it's just such a cute animation. It was really good. Really impressed.
I mean, I really want to go and watch that now. I've not seen it yet, but yeah, Cat with Alligator sounds so cute. But I mean, there's so much validity to what she's saying there, because I think, all I see on LinkedIn these days is people saying, SEO is dead, GEO is here, SEO is dead, AEO is here, GEO is dead, AEO is and I'm just like, there's so many different things being spun around. And, that point that she makes that, we still need all those other elements to contribute towards success is just so important. Like, we can't just leave them behind. We can't just forget about them and think that there's something completely shiny and new, because there's so many of those, other family members, let's say, that play such an important role in what the large language models are doing and where they're getting their content from as well.
Mm-hmm.
That, I think that's just a really cool way of putting it.
It was a great video. Like, it was awesome. And Lily, obviously you always got to listen to Lily, and as usual, I put clips of all the videos after we speak about them. There'll be a clip of it. I won't be able to show the whole thing because it's the long one, but the link will be in the description, so you can go and check out the whole thing, and Amanda can do that after this video.
Hi everyone, and welcome to GEO, AEO, LLMO, Separating Fact from Fiction and How to Win in AI Search. This is an online adapted version of the presentation that I gave at MozCon New York City last week, and I just wanted to share it online as well. So, for anybody who doesn't know me, my name is Lily Ray, and I'm the VP of SEO Strategy and Research at an agency called AMSIV, based here in New York City. And this was my 5th annual year presenting at MozCon, the first ever MozCon New York City, and my 9th year in a row attending MozCon, so I was just so excited to be back on stage with Moz. Now, for anybody in the SEO and AI search space, this is a bit of what it's felt like to stay on top of all the latest trends and developments this year. We have all types of new vocabulary and terminology that we need to learn, like chunking content, prompt engineering, token efficiency, cosine similarity, model context protocol, agentic workflows, so much new concepts and new things to learn this year. It's been very overwhelming. I feel like every day we've had to stay on top of learning all the latest developments in the AI space. And I would say the most important question on the top of everybody's mind is this GEO, AEO, LLMO, or really just SEO? And in order to present this today, I wanted to keep things simple with a little bit of a story time. And I was thinking about, well, how can I convey this in a way that would make sense? And I thought back to this timeless article describing our beloved SEO industry as one giant alligator party. So if anybody remembers, The People That Ruined the Internet was written by an author at The Verge. They talked about how our industry is an alligator party. So I thought I would stick with that motif throughout today's presentation. And you might be wondering, well, I'm based in New York City. Why on earth would I be talking about alligators in New York? Well, believe it or not, we have had our share of alligators appearing in our subway system of New York, in the gutters of the subway. So it's not impossible to encounter an alligator once in a while, but you're much more likely to encounter a rat on the New York City subway. So don't be too alarmed when you come to visit our city. So anyway, let's take a journey into 2025, the year of AI search, the allegory of the alligator.
And Amanda, what was yours this week?
Sure. So mine was a YouTube video done by Neil Patel where he predicted the 7 biggest social media marketing trends for 2026. So there was kind of, 7 things that he pulled out. So I'll just list them so that we've got them here. On-platform conversion will explode. User-controlled feeds are taking over. Long-form videos making a comeback. Social platforms are becoming search engines. Expert personal brands are replacing influencers. Virtual influencers are dying. I thought that was quite interesting. And social fatigue and equality reset. Now, all of these obviously really, really good points, but there was a couple that jumped out to me in particular when we were talking about the authenticity angle. And I remember seeing a while back when we were obviously talking about the fact that there was a lot of, let's say, fake influencers. The girl that was photographed at Wimbledon, she had like 50,000 likes, starting to promote kind of, content and brands everywhere. And it's really interesting to see like how much of a dive authenticity really took in that point. And I think what we are going to see in 2026, and this is something that Neil alludes to quite a lot, is we're really going to have to get back to that authenticity. And, we're seeing it a lot in digital PR where journalists are fact checking like to a level that I've never seen before. You know, we're putting forward experts and they are, you know, looking for more information on them. They're calling them, they're wanting phone numbers to, you know, be able to verify that these experts are genuine because, you know, again, there was that issue where there was an AI expert that claimed to work in the royal household, I think it was, and put forward a load of comments about what it's like to work in the royal household, which you can imagine must have been a complete like PR nightmare, but, you know, landed loads of links and so on and so forth. And I just think probably like the biggest takeaway is that we have probably had this year where this has been allowed to happen. And now people are going, no, like we need to get back to what really matters. We need to get back to that level of authenticity. We need to get back to, you know, genuine, whether it be in PR, whether it be in social media, what, you know, wherever it is. We have to put some steps in place to make sure that this kind of element of AI doesn't, you know, go too crazy. And then the other thing that I thought was quite interesting was about the long form video making a comeback, because I think since the invent of TikTok, our attention spans now have started to attune to the really shorter videos, you know, the short form, the YouTube shorts, or TikToks tend to be a little bit shorter. But it's interesting to see now that actually people are starting to engage a little bit more with the long form video as well. So it'd be interesting to see how that turns out in 2026.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the longer form stuff it's really ever gone away. I know people keep saying that, but like, and maybe it's the older generations, but obviously, like, look at the top shows on YouTube. Obviously, like Joe Rogan, like Trigonometry or whatever you watch, they get millions and millions of views on a daily basis. So there's, you know, and they're 3 hours sometimes. So there's obviously still a great audience for it. But yeah, I like, obviously, you know, I do say there's the lines are going to be blurred, but people are going to want to see the actual people going forward, I'm sure. Yeah. And unless we've got, do you have any views? Because my story leads very well one to this one, to be fair.
No, the only thing I was going to say is that maybe it's game over for our friend Tilly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what
The career that never really started. Such a shame.
Soon.
Oh well. Do it next time.
And what worked just a few years ago doesn't work anymore. Right now, we're seeing the biggest shift in social media since the rise of short form video, where users, not algorithms, are taking control. I'm Neil Patel, founder of NP Digital, one of the largest marketing agencies in the world. In this video, I'll break down 7 social media trends that are reshaping 2026. Let's get into it. Trend number 1, on-platform conversion will explode. For years, your social media goal was simple: drive traffic to your website. Click the link in the bio, visit our website, buy there. But that entire model is being replaced. Every major platform is becoming a complete sales ecosystem. And if you're still trying to drive traffic off-platform, you're already losing sales. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook are racing to keep users inside their app from start to finish. Facebook proved this model works well with lead forms. Shopify's 2025 update confirmed that native checkout for TikTok and Instagram and brands using social commerce stores saw conversions increase between 20 and 40%. Think about this. Soon, everything will happen in-app. You scroll TikTok, see a product, click buy, enter a payment, get confirmation, all without ever opening a browser. This fundamentally changes how you structure your funnels. Successful businesses in 2026 won't just be driving traffic to websites. They'll be optimizing their conversion journey inside these platforms. And not just for products, they'll also be doing it for lead captures and service-based businesses as well. Just like with Facebook ads, you can capture a lead on Facebook without driving them to your website. It's cheaper than driving traffic to your website. Why? Because Facebook has that user still on platform, meaning they can show them another ad and potentially get them to click all over and make more money. So if you want to be an early adopter, here's what you need to do. First, integrate with platform native commerce tools. If you're on Shopify, enable TikTok Shop and Instagram Shopping now. Connect Stripe to social checkout systems. Second, optimize your call to action for on-platform conversion. Stop saying visit our website, say shop now or buy here with native checkout buttons. You can also do this for service-based businesses. You can educate people on your services throughout the content on these social platforms like Instagram. You can create a short form video talking about what you have to offer. And within that video, you can have people comment to get more information directly messaged to them. And you can use platforms like ManyChat for that. Or within your video, you can just tell people what phone number to call to get in touch with you.
So yeah, I mean, funny enough, my video does lead on for this, and many people have probably seen this on TV already, and I find it quite creepy. in many ways. And it just shows where we're going. So the advert is called Human and I Know It. And it's co-founded by Sam Altman. And this is really funny when you get into it. It's obviously the CEO of OpenAI. And this basically, it's called World. And World is a project that gives people a digital identity to prove they are real humans online. It uses biometric checks like scanning your face to create a secure digital ID that stores privately on your device. And the goal is to make the internet safer and fairer by stopping bots and fake accounts and scams, and helping real people access online services or vote in digital polls or prove their identity without sharing personal data. And if you watch the advert, is this kind of orb that you look into and it scans your face and stuff. And what's really amazing, it's like, this is like now, like this is happening. This isn't like Star Wars or something. This is a real thing. And it's quite interesting because like Sam Altman's been one of the main people to create this environment, this AI misinformation, like increased scam, environment. And now he's like coming up with a remedy, a solution for it and selling it. It's like it's been manufactured. I've said this on my channel before, like he's also building himself like this super underground shelter, which he's got like loads of like, bomb proof and everything proof sort of rooms and everything. And now he's doing this. It's kind of like, it's the writing on the wall and he's making money from it, basically, it seems. I don't know.
I don't know. My mind kind of went to two places there. The first was, okay, well, first of all, I was a little bit suspicious. Like, that's a lot of information, like personal information to like give the internet. But then at the same time, how's that any different to face recognition that we have on our phones anyway? If it's that kind of biometric data, I thought that. And then the second thought I had was, why does Sam Altman care all of a sudden? What's in it for him?
Well, people are going to have to pay for it, I guess, and just to make sure. So say in future, like, I don't know, no one knows what's going to happen, but say there's a special, you have to go in and vote, and then you can only vote if you could prove, and you're on this system, your details will be on there, so you'll be able to get access to vote. Where if you're not, you can't vote. So it's going to be like going to be an interesting one. Obviously, I don't know what his real incentives behind it. I don't know what he's thinking, but the advert's really creepy, and it's like it's just like, I was like, is this a joke? And it's actually not. It's like on normal TV and everything. It's like an actual thing.
It's mad where we live in a world where we have to do that, though. Like that, there's been such a rise of fake entities, let's say, that something like a digital ID would have to be put in place to verify that you're actually a genuine human being.
And we just obviously in the UK had a massive thing about digital IDs, and it wasn't exactly the most popular thing ever. So we have to see how that gets on.
If you're human and you know it, make a fire.
If you're human and you know it, paint a chapel.
If you're human and you know it and you really want to show it, if you're human and you know it, dare to try.
Save a life. Get back up.
Help a friend.
Map the stars.
If you're human and you know it, launch the web.
If you're human and you know it.
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 If you're human and you know it, then your face will surely show it. If you're human and you know it, show it.
And quickly, my second one was just around, it's a follow-up on the one I did before. So Ahrefs, and I talked about, with Ryan Law, and they did about talking about AI search and how to get more visible on it. But they did a follow-up with Patrick Stocks and around myth busting around AI search, like talking about some of the things that people were saying a lot about AI search, and actually it's not true, or it's actually different to what's going on, trending on LinkedIn about it. And It's really interesting. And one of the things that came out to me that was surprising is like, obviously a lot about, these AI large language models can't read JavaScript at all. Well, actually they can't. Some of them can. So it's really depending on the model. So some of them actually can read JavaScript. Like, obviously it's not that good, but they can. So if you read like what you see on LinkedIn, you think that none of them can read anything about JavaScript, and that's not completely true. But there's other things about that as well.
Your brand to show up in ChatGPT, you have to do the exact same thing that you do in order to show up in Google. Or maybe not. I've seen some experts say that ranking in AI search requires a rather different set of tactics compared to conventional SEO. Confusing, right? Well, for this episode I brought in our very own Patrick Stokes to shine the light on this argument. Patrick is one of the most knowledgeable and experienced SEO professionals that I've ever met, and he's been keeping a very close eye on all the AEO, GEO hype. And trust me, he has quite a few things to say about all the advice that some of the newfound experts in this field are pushing. In this episode, we went deep on all the intricacies of getting mentioned by AI chatbots and explored how getting your brand into ChatGPT is different to ranking in Google. Sounds interesting? Then keep listening and don't forget to hit like to support the work I'm doing with this podcast.
In terms of like socials, Nick, to start with you, then Peter.
Yeah, my social for this week is one by Aleyda Solis, who is one of my favorite SEOs. So she's kind of waded into the whole zero-click search debate, like what's causing that, what's causing like the decrease in traffic, like we're getting the visibility, where are the clicks? And a lot of people are very quick to just blame AI overviews, which is something we touched on last week as well. But what Aleyda has noticed from her research is there are two other culprits as well, not just AI overviews. And one of them is the much more prominent inclusion of SERP features above the fold, so like product carousels, video carousels, that kind of thing. And number two, the increase in visibility of Google's own properties, like YouTube, or partner properties, like Reddit, of course. And she shared some screenshots on LinkedIn to back up what she's saying. And it's basically screenshots comparing the same search queries. So she's got examples of informational, commercial, and transactional queries. And she's comparing what the search results look like in 2023 to 2025. And you can see very clearly that the organic listings have just been pushed further and further down the page. And she's it's worth flagging as well that she said she's going to do a whole presentation on this at SMX next. I'm not sure what the dates are for that, but she's a really good speaker if you've never seen her before.
I think one of the things we're really noticing is the organic product carousels on a lot of search results are pushing the organic searches right down. So it's interesting to pull that out. But those product carousels are, if we're searching for, we've got a client that sells like disposable products, let's say the cups, where we're in position 3. Position 3 is now like position 7 by the time you have the SERP feature, and it's usually 2 organic product carousels, which will just be, paper cups, let's say. But those were definitely not there, 6 months ago, and they are really taking up a lot of real estate on the page. Oh, 100%. You know what? In addition to the work that I do at Reach, sometimes I do a bit of freelance work as well. And some of my clients, like they are in position 1, but they're not getting the traffic that they used to, because sometimes in some cases there are 5 adverts which now look like organic listings when they're not, before you even get to the organic listings. So yeah, it's just getting pushed further and further down. At one point, it's probably just going to be one giant ad, right? Well, they've made those updates to the search results as well now, where they give you the ability to hide the ads. But by hiding the ads, they've taken off the sponsored tag that used to be on the ads. So now I think a lot of the time the ads look just like the organic listings, because no one's really hiding them anyway. No one's like clicking the tab to hide them. So it's just taken off the recognition that the ad's actually an ad. And I think that's probably contributing as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, one way you can look is if you use like a tool like Advanced Web Ranking. They show pixel width between first place and everything between all the positions, and you could see, like you said before, you could be ranking first position, and the pixel width has actually over the last 6 months increased hugely. So like you can see the difference in terms of like positioning, and yeah, it's crazy on some searches, especially in e-commerce. It's really busy. But yeah, interesting. Amanda, what was yours?
So mine was a post by Phil Pierce talking about Google Consent Mode V2 and how you can actually audit consent mode against GA4. There's a Chrome extension that can help you to do it. So for anyone that has been using consent mode for the cookies, which I think a lot of people do, they will have noticed that it kind of plays havoc with GA4. So once you implement it, it's very, very difficult to utilize GA4 tracking at the same time. So it's interesting that Phil's actually they've come up with an idea and suggestions as to how you can actually audit consent mode against GA4 to make your data a little bit more accurate. So one of the things that he says on the post is that generally your traffic can drop by around about 30% because when you have consent mode enabled, a lot of your click IDs are masked, so GA4 can't actually grab that information, and that leads to like a broken attribution, leads missing from reports, and also obviously your customer acquisition cost is rising. So he's basically saying that even if your tracking setup looks good, you need to check, is consent mode active? Are tags blocked before the consent is actually done? And is the click ID being passed too early? So essentially what's happening is when consent mode is being implemented, which a lot of people do on the website, just from a compliance perspective, it's just not really playing ball with GA4. So in this post, he essentially puts through some recommendations as how you can audit that and get your GA4 data working a bit better, which I think is great because it's a big challenge. You know, we've had that as a challenge. I know a lot of people have had challenges with consent mode and basically losing entire chunks of data from GA4 because if it isn't clicked before the tag fires, it's just not tracking that user or any information about them, like where they're coming from, you know, what marketing channel is driving them, etc.
Yeah, that's really important. It's a really good find. Yeah, I'm interested in that, so I'll definitely checking that out afterwards. Yeah, just to wrap up, my one was from Marie Haynes. I think obviously a lot of people would have seen this. It only dropped like last night, but Google just announced a big update to shopping, you know, just in time for Christmas and stuff, which is no real surprise. But basically, you can converse in AI mode, and when you ask a shopping related question, you'll get an intelligently based organized response with rich like visuals showing price, reviews and other information. And you can also use these shopping features in the Gemini app. And basically you can then also ask Google to call stores on your behalf to ask about products. There's things like, you know, they're rolling out agentic checkout. So you track, this was really cool. So you can basically track an item that you're interested in. And when the price drops or they find like a one for a better price, you can basically get it to alert you and get it to buy it for you if you want when that price drops. So I just thought that was pretty interesting. It's rolling out in the US now. I'm sure it'd be everywhere if it takes off. But yeah, obviously we talked about ChatGPT earlier, but Google have gone and done this.
Just in time for Black Friday as well. Great time.
I mean, would you either of you kind of use this? I mean, say you're looking for a present or something else, and you know it's tracking an item and it finds that it's dropped in price, and would you set up your card and feel comfortable in them putting a sale fee?
No.
I mean, you're like we're not giving probably the best level of support there, but yeah, no, I don't think. No, not yet. Let them test it a bit first.
Yeah, I agree. And then just finished off at Arena Mortseva. Hopefully I've said that right, probably butchered it, but she was basically saying according to Profound study, 79.7% of buyers now rely on answer engines like ChatGPT and Perplexity for at least half of their purchase decisions, and 58% of people use them weekly during research. And then she also said like 70% go on to then buy they've seen. So they leave like the AI interface and then they go and complete their purchase somewhere else, perhaps. So 24% on Google, 20% on Amazon, 19% from the branded website. and 15% in store. So it's having a high influence. So that's, I guess, why ChatGPT are trying to cash in on that, user behavior rather than them going elsewhere to complete the purchase, which is like, obviously they're saying 70%. So there is like a market obviously there for them to get.
That kind of ties in what Lily Rain was saying during her Alligator animation. What she was saying about basically if your end goal is to get people to like come buy a product with you, your metric shouldn't necessarily be traffic or page views. You could be using large language models like tracking visibility, because they might it's not that they're clicking on the site after seeing your brand reference within a large language model. They might then go and complete the purchase directly onto your site. So tracking that visibility, important. I think that just backs up what Lily was saying.
Or come into your shop. So that's why it's really interesting to also ask, how did you hear from us? How did you hear about us, and why have you bought from us? And that kind of thing is really important. Well, always has been, but cool. Yeah, I think we covered some cool stuff there. So thanks both for joining me again, and we'll see you both next week or whenever we do this next.
Thanks, John.